Everyone, and welcome back to the show. I am so sad to tell you all that our break from the social justice warriors that I feel like we had for a whopping 6 months is over, and we need to talk about it. Okay, everybody, I have had fun lurking in the chat as I do this morning, and I saw a couple of people asking for a Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively update, and I will say I have literally been what is it called on X? Like bookmarking tweets and saving things because there's been a ton of stuff that has happened with Blake Lively's subpoenas and all of that because she was subpoenaing, people like Candace Owens, and then she was sending subpoenas to people who are much smaller influencers on like TikTok and Instagram and that sort of thing. So I know that all of that was happening. I've been saving all that information. Some of those subpoenas have been struck down. Those YouTubers are fighting back. I think she even sent some to Google. It was this whole thing. Anyway, there are updates, but I need to collect all of them, and maybe we can do like a proper, I'll make it a longer part of one of the live streams. But then so many other funny things come up that we need to talk about that kind of keeps getting pushed aside. So I'm sorry about that, but if you do want an update, I will make sure that that happens. But on the celebrity front, like I was just commenting in the chat with you guys, I wanted to see what you thought. We have to talk about Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry on a date yesterday, the day before yesterday. Because guys, well, this is just crazy. Within 12 hours yesterday, we found out that Katy Perry is now allegedly, I don't know if we're dating, talking, courting, situationally linked, I have no idea, but she went out on a date with former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. That is the photo you just saw of them at the table together. I saw somebody make a joke and say that she was teaching him about going to space because Canada's never gone to space. And so that was the only thing that they could talk about. Also, as you guys know, probably, Justin Trudeau is a former theater kid. He's like Vladimir Zelensky in Ukraine. They're both former theater kids. We have all of these photos of them, basically playing dress up. So maybe he wanted to try on her wigs or go on tour with her, try on her shiny outfits. I don't know. He's no longer the prime minister. He wanted to bring that part of his life back. Who knows? Anyway, so maybe that's what they were talking about. But again, like I said, within 12 hours, we saw that happen. And then also Tom Cruise and Ana de Armas. Is that how you say her name? Anna? I think it's Anna. They officially went out in public and were holding hands, basically saying that they are now together, I guess. And that has also been a whole scandal and thing because anybody who gets linked to Tom Cruise obviously gets linked to Scientology, and I think has to go through some level of like the courses for them to even be dating. So everybody's like, oh my gosh, is she a Scientologist? Was she a Scientologist? Who knows? But they basically confirmed their relationship. Also, I saw some funny posts of people being like, this is so great. Like, a Hollywood actor is dating somebody that is like a reasonable age because I think she's 37 years old, which is much better than Leonardo DiCaprio just chronically dating people who are under the age of 25. However, I do think Leo is dating somebody who's like 27 now or 26. I think he's kind of like inched over his normal age range. So we'll see. The tides are turning. Maybe that's a recession indicator that he's like, oh, maybe I need to age up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's something that people are saying. And then the last one, it's like last week we talked about how celebrity deaths come in three. I guess new celebrity relationships come in threes because at the end of this 12-hour mark, it was announced that Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson are dating, which everybody was super excited about. And this was really pure to me, at least on the Liam Neeson side, because Neeson's wife, Natasha Richardson, unfortunately passed away in 2009. She was in a horrific accident, and I don't think he's dated anybody since then. He has not been linked to anybody. I don't think he's dated. He has certainly not been in any kind of serious relationship, never got married again. Like, this was love of his life. And then he met Pamela Anderson, who has not been in the same boat. Like, she was desperately in love with Tommy Lee, and then also married Kid Rock, and then married the same guy twice at different points in her life, and then married another guy. Anyway, but it's always kind of been that like Tommy Lee was like the great love of her life, and she's kind of been chasing that ever since, but she has not been linked to anybody for a while, and I think most of us know her from her, makeup list looks that she's been doing and trying to promote healthy aging for women, especially in Hollywood, and setting a good example. But anyway, they are officially dating. They look super in love. I'm really happy for Liam Neeson because, again, I just think it's so sweet. He has stayed single for so many years because because he wanted to be loyal to Natasha. So anyway, those are your celebrity updates for the day, the dating that comes in threes. But moving on from that, we can go on from Hollywood because we need to talk about one of my favorite influencers who has unfortunately found himself in some hot water. Before we move into that though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not already, and of course, ring that notification bell to make sure that you stay up to date on all of our videos and live streams since we are doing these regularly now. And of course, if you want updates on other things, like maybe, possibly new events, maybe new merch, who knows, you can go to brettcooper.com. That is the hub for all of that stuff. Alrighty, so we can move on now. I'm going to see if you guys had any super chats in here. Just people saying Cooper Trooper for life. Yes, Hans Eriksson. Love that. Okay, so the influencer that has found himself in hot water is none other than Joey Swoll. And it breaks my heart to say this because here's the thing. I love Joey Swoll. I actually think on the old channel, I'm pretty sure that one of my Joey Swoll episodes was like the top viewed video on that channel. I'm pretty sure that we can confirm that. Like, I did a whole rant about gym thoughts and how Joey Swoll was combating them and just trying to make the gym a better place. And I love that video. I love him. I have defended him relentlessly for years at this point, and he has faced so much backlash, and every single time he's been able to withstand that backlash. Like, people will come at him. Like, recently, even on this show, we talked about these women were coming at him and they were saying, like, you're only, you know, calling me out because I'm black. And he was like, no, I'm not calling you out because you're black. I'm calling you out because you're an asshole, because that's really what you're doing, and you're filming people without their consent and making fun of them in the gym. So again, he has been able to withstand everything until now. I don't know if there's something going on in his life. I don't know if there was something happening behind the scenes or if this was too much to withstand, but the mob got him. Guys, unfortunately, after all these years, after all the good work he did, the mob got him and he finally folded. And the reason why this all happened was because he told everybody that he was very sad that Hulk Hogan passed away. So let's go through how all of this transpired. So he reposted last week one of his videos from 2020 where he was dressed up as Hulk Hogan, working out. Literally, I'll just show you 5 seconds. We can go ahead and roll the clip. 5 seconds of this video, and this is why people lost their damn minds. Take a look. So that's literally it. That's all he did. He posted a video. It was of him in 2020, and he was saying, I'm so sad that this legend died. And he talked about how, you know, Hulk Hogan was one of his biggest inspirations growing up. This is the reason why he got into bodybuilding in the first place and wanted to go to the gym. He said that, you know, Hulk Hogan taught him how to pray at night. He taught him how to be like a man, and he was so inspirational, all of these things. He posted this video just as a tribute to be like, yeah, this is one of my favorite guys. I'm so upset that he passed away. Rest in peace. That was it. That was literally it. They were losing their minds. They could not believe that Joey Swoll would be supporting somebody like Hulk Hogan, who had spoken at the RNC, who was a confirmed racist in their minds because of things that Hulk Hogan had said in his life. The audacity that he would say rest in peace to his childhood idol. And so Joey saw all of those comments, and because, you know, he does what he usually does, he stands up to these people. He went on TikTok Live and he defended himself. But that didn't work either. Take a watch.
Listen, I can post Hulk Hogan if I want to. Just because somebody makes a mistake in their life doesn't mean that they haven't done good things. I don't know what he did, and he said something 20 years ago and apologized for it. If you're going to attack me, you better go after the colored athletes and the people that are black and minority that went and posted him as well.
So that did not make the situation better at all, because he doubled down. He doubled down and he said, no, actually, this is a great guy. This is somebody I look up to. You know, this is incredible. He said one bad thing. I don't really care. Like, this was a major inspiration in my life. And everybody was specifically upset that in that tiny little clip on Instagram Live, he used the term colored. Now, I don't think he was going out of his way to be outdated or racist. I think he was just speaking on a live stream. You know, it's hard when you're doing a live stream because things just come out and you might say something that is incorrect or you might trip up on your words. I'm sure he was just saying that. Also, it's kind of confusing because you're not supposed to say that, but also you say people of color these days, which also that doesn't really seem any better, but people say that it's better. I don't even know. Anyway, it's all confusing. There are so many rules and things you have to jump through in 2025 in order to be politically correct and not offend anybody. Anyway, so he said that people lost their minds yet again. The hole just kept getting deeper. The water was boiling. He just couldn't get out of it. And so finally, he did what you should never do, and he made an apology. Here, Take a listen. This is a minute and a half long, so stick with it. You need to see the entire thing. This was his apology.
I owe my followers, my community, and all of social media an apology. A few days ago, I reposted an old video of me in the gym wearing a Hulk Hogan Halloween costume on the day that he passed. Last night in my live stream, a lot of people expressed how upset and frustrated they were with me that I had posted that. Instead of listening and understanding like I should have, I became defensive and said that I was posting to celebrate the wrestling icon, the person that so many of us looked up to as kids, that we grew up with, that made us tear our shirts and take our vitamins and say our prayers. I didn't know to the extent of all the horrible things that he had done. Since last night, I have done a lot of research, talked to a few people, and learned all of the horrible, horrible things that that man has done, which is way more than just making a mistake and being human. So because of that, I have taken the videos down, and I apologize to anybody that I offended. I am sorry. Also, during last night's live stream, I used the word colored instead of saying person of color, which is a very outdated, very offensive term. A few moments later, somebody educated me and told me that it wasn't okay to use that, which I immediately apologized to everyone and said I would never do that again.
I mean, I'm sorry. Are we back in 2020? We're listening and learning. I spent the last 24 hours learning about all of the horrifying, horrible things he did. I don't believe that Joey Swoll actually did that, because he was a fan of Hulk Hogan. I'm sure he knew about things that Hulk Hogan had said. I'm sure he saw the viral clip of him ripping his shirt off at the RNC. I think he knew where he stood politically, the things that he had said over the years, some of the more controversial things, canceled, uncanceled, all of that. If you were a fan of Hulk Hogan, you would know all of that, that he is not some like perfect, non-offensive human being. Like, he was, pretty controversial. A lot of people didn't like him. People were literally celebrating the fact that he had died. So I don't think you just learned this overnight after, 30 plus years of being a fan of him. I think what happened is the pressure got too much. The mob, oh my God, guys, I'm literally choking here. Behind the scenes, when we were playing that video, I was chugging coffee. Terrible idea. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that this was the mob. This was not like a genuine, like, oh yes, let me go research this stuff. It was purely pressure. And it's so unfortunate because, again, Joey Swoll has done so many amazing things, and he has withstood this pressure for so long, so many ridiculous, baseless attacks, because he tries to put positivity in the world, regardless of your race, regardless of your creed, regardless of your age, anything. He just goes out and he defends good people who should be defended. He, stands up to bullies. That's what he does all the time. And now he just bent a knee to the worst bullies on earth, the Instagram and TikTok and Twitter mob that have no life other than sitting online and policing people's speech and policing what they think and they do if it just slightly offends them. And it's so unfortunate. And what makes it worse is that now he's given them power. By making that video, you guys only saw like a minute and 20 seconds. I think that's what we clipped out for you. It went on longer. He goes on and he apologizes more. I'm going to stop. I'm learning. Thank you. So keep holding me accountable. You're groveling to them. You can't do that. If you get into a situation where people are commenting and being angry, like if there is a genuine thing, if you have genuinely screwed up, obviously like read the comments, see if there's like a genuine thing that you have done. But if this is somebody that you have actually admired, like these are things that you would stand behind, that you like love this person, and you are, comfortable saying rest in peace because this is your childhood icon, do not bend the knee. That is not something that you need to apologize for. What you have to do is just ignore it. Just post through it. Seriously, like do not even acknowledge it. Just be like, guys, I'm sorry. Maybe he said some bad things. I didn't know. He's a human being. He moved on. I think he did a lot of good in the world. He did a lot of good in my life. Sorry if you're offended. I'm going to move on. People will forget because it's the internet, and our attention spans are the size of a pea. You are on TikTok. You should know that. We scroll. We move on. I'm going to forget what I talked about 10 minutes ago because I'm 23 years old and I'm part of Gen Z, and that's just how it works. People will forget. But because you have groveled, because you apologized, you gave them power, both online, now they feel like they've won, and just emotionally, in your own soul, you're like, oh, I did all these bad things. I had to apologize. And guys, this is like the proof is in the pudding. That apology didn't even work. It wasn't good enough. It was not good enough because then he got even more backlash from that. Like, you need to do more. You need to do better. They were bringing up all these other problematic things that Joey had done in the comments, like when he called out black women or whatever was happening like a month ago that we talked about. And so he bent the knee again. And he made a post on Twitter and he put it on his Instagram story as well. And he basically said, like, all the good I've tried to do, all the positivity I've tried to spread, I think that's exactly what he said. And he was like, I guess it doesn't amount for anything. I guess it's never good enough. And then he just said, I'm done. And he has not posted since then. It's been 2 days and he hasn't posted. Like, that is the proof. You can do everything for them. This is what we've been saying for years now. You can be the person that falls in line every single time. You can say everything right. And then if you make one misstep and apologize, you're out. They will eat their own. They will eat you alive. And Joey Swoll is experiencing that right now, which is so unfortunate. So just like add Joey Swoll to the list of the people that social justice warriors have been trying to bring down for ages. They were finally successful. They have not been successful yet with Sydney Sweeney and Scotty Scheffler. We're going to talk about them in a moment. But before we do, we need to chat about Grand Canyon University, because Grand Canyon University does not feed into any of that stuff. Grand Canyon University believes in equal opportunity and that the American dream starts with a purpose. GCU equips you to serve others in ways that promote human flourishing and creates a ripple effect of transformation for generations to come. And by honoring your career calling, you will be able to impact your family, your friends, and your community. And you can change the world for good by putting others before yourself to glorify God, and that is what GCU helps you do. So whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctoral degree, Grand Canyon University's online, on-campus, and hybrid learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique academic, personal, and professional goals. With over 340 academic programs as of September 2024, GCU meets you where you are and provides a path to help you fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish and find your purpose today at Grand Canyon University. It is private, it's Christian, it is affordable. Visit gcu.edu to learn more. Again, that is gcu.edu today. That is where smart people go who are not part of the woke mob. If you want to learn how to withstand the woke mob and not make groveling apologies like this, you can go to Grand Canyon University. Let's see. Somebody said, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. I'm just seeing if everybody is just supporting Hulk Hogan, which I love. And you should also send some support to Joey Swoll, because I feel like he feels like he is being beaten down right now, like the internet has won. And it is unfortunate that he has apologized, but it's hard to withstand all of that pressure. It really is, but he's done so much good in the world, and he really has put a lot of people who are just kind of dicks in their places. And I hope he comes back from this. I hope that this is not the end of him on the internet, because he has been a really positive, joyful place forever. And I hope that he does come back and finally just starts posting through it. Just turn off the comments. Don't turn off the comments. Just don't read them. Don't look. Don't acknowledge them. Just move on. Keep posting. And I promise you, Joey, people will forget. All right. Now, to speak about another meltdown, guys, I have to say, the Sydney Sweeney meltdown has not stopped. We talked about how they had brought it to Good Morning America. It had made its way into legacy media. Now they were saying, oh, this is Nazi propaganda, all of these things. That ended up being on Good Morning America. It's been on a lot of different big cable news shows now. And it has just continued, and it has gotten even crazier after a new Dunkin' Donuts ad came out. Now, a lot of people online were posting this other ad that I'm about to show you, and they were saying like, oh, look, this is in response to the Sydney Sweeney ad. No, it was not. This Dunkin' Donuts ad was not filmed in the last 3 days. This is just something that was happening sort of at the same time. It was released around the same time. But the TV show and the book series, The Summer I Turned Pretty, I think it's a book series, right? Yeah. This is not a show that I watch. I've been told that I should watch it because there's been some controversy online. So maybe if you're interested, we'll do that. I think it's like a YA Netflix series. Anyway, but The Summer I Turned Pretty partnered with Dunkin' Donuts to produce this ad with one of their stars. Take a watch and see if you can notice why people are similarly outraged, and then we're going to talk about it.
Look, I didn't ask to be the king of summer. It just kind of happened. This tan? Genetics. I just got my color analysis back. Guess what? Golden summer. Literally. I can't help it. Every time I drink a Dunkin' Golden Hour refresher, it's like the sun just finds me. So if sipping these refreshers makes me the king of summer, guilty as charged. The Golden Hour refresher, only at Dunkin'.
Golden summer. How offensive. Oh my gosh, the eugenics. Guys, it's a racist dog whistle. We need to cancel Dunkin' Donuts. We need to cancel the Summer I Turned Pretty. We need to cancel, what is that actor's name? Gavin Kasingo, something like that, I think is his last name. Randomly, I used to be friends with his ex-girlfriend in LA, so I've been to like the beach with him. Just as like a random like child actor aside that was like from years ago. Anyway, Gavin, dog whistle, far-right propaganda. That's what they're all saying online now. It is ridiculous. Now, this just goes to show, because this was produced around the same time as the Sydney Sweeney ad, that guys, maybe it's not that deep. Maybe these are just jokes that people make. Maybe this is just something that people in advertising are like, haha, hey, this is funny. This kid is super tan and he's in a really popular Netflix TV show and we have this new Dunkin' ad. This is really great. The color of summer, because everybody wants to be tan in summer. That's not racist. That's not eugenics. That's just something that people like to do when they're going on their beach vacations. This is funny. Let's do this. Simply, in the same way that the company who put together the Sydney Sweeney ad for American Eagle was probably like, hey, this is a funny play on the old Brooke Shields ad. This is really, let's do this. This is so cool. Jeans, everybody loves the fact that she's like genetically well endowed. Let's make some jokes about it. It's not eugenics. It's literally not that deep. This entire thing is so ridiculous. It's a joke. They're making jokes using celebrities. And yet there is outrage even about this one. And people saw this new ad. They went, oh my God, it's happening. The racists are back. This is happening because of Trump. It's literally laughable. Watch this video. These are the things that they are saying on TikTok.
Look, I didn't ask to be the king of summer. It just kind of happened. This tan? Genetics. I just got my color analysis back. Guess what? Golden summer. Literally.
Who the fuck's coming out with one next? They're getting bold. They were already bold, but they're getting fucking bold right now. Holy shit.
I just have to say, it is always the same type of person. Like, I'm going to try to be like nice about this, but the people who are upset about the Sydney Sweeney ad, the people who are making, videos about the Dunkin' Donuts ad, they look the same. They've got the same type of piercings, the shaved heads. Like, guys, they are angry. They are coming out in droves to attack Joey Swoll, to attack Sydney Sweeney. All of this, the outrage is never ending. But guys, to give you some hope, because I do feel like this is happening more and more now. Like, people are looking for things to be angry about. They're getting riled up again. Maybe it's the summer heat, the humidity that we're facing in Tennessee right now, that people are just like, they're sitting inside in the air conditioning, scrolling on their phones, like looking for problems, looking for things to be mad about online. I don't know. But to give you guys some hope, I do still think that it is the minority of people making a big fuss about all of this and starting all of this outrage, because a really interesting study just came out of Pew Research. So every year, Pew looks at how people are voting, obviously looks at voting demographics, and they just released their 2025 numbers, and people were comparing them to the numbers in 2023. And guys, it is shocking. Now, I know a lot of you guys are younger, you're around my age, between the 18 to 29 bracket, and I just have to say, those of us in that bracket, we are fed up. We are done with the outrage. We are letting it roll off of our shoulders. We do not care about these stupid ads and the cancellation mobs or anything like that. We are done. And I think that is why so many of us have moved to the right. So these are the numbers. Max, you can pull this up on the screen here. Just revealed, men aged 18 to 29 have swung a whopping 44 points Republican from 2023 to 2025. And women, this is where it gets good, 18 to 29 have lurched red by 14 points. 14! That is crazy. Now, granted, still the majority of people who are in our age range, the, older Gen Zs, the young millennials, they are still the most leftist group in the world. I think in history is what people are saying. But I don't know if that is going to be the case forever, because we are slowly, or as Eric says here, lurching to the right. And I think a lot of it has to do with culture, because the left has gotten so insane. And again, I said at the beginning, I feel like we had a couple of months of peace and then things came back, but it really did feel like we had gotten some unity after the election. Like, everybody was kind of chilled out. People were, dipping their toes over party lines to vote for Trump. Maybe Maha brought them over, maybe Tulsi brought them over, whoever it is. Like, people were, watching Trump in the trash truck. They were really excited about it all. We had the inauguration. There were a few pitiful protests, but really nothing crazy. And now it has just exploded again. And I think a lot of people are looking around going, oh yeah, you really are crazy. I cannot be a part of this anymore. This is insane. I want the guy who is, more normal. I don't want the outrage. I want a strong economy. I want strong borders, and I want none of your insane nonsense, because you are, turning a crumb into a cupcake, basically, with all of this ridiculous outrage, and you're canceling people for absolutely absurd reasons. So I think a lot of it is culture. And as Eric said at the end of his tweet there, he said, this is nightmare fuel for Democrats. And I think it really is, because they are panicking. They are desperate. As I think we talked about a couple of months ago, they're investing $20 million to try to reach young men, to learn the syntax of how you guys all speak, to try to reach to you, to bring you back over to the left. So they know that they're losing there. But I think that they also know that they're losing on a lot of these big social and cultural issues, which leads me to this quote that I saw from Pete Buttigieg. So I want to pull this tweet up on the screen. This is a screenshot from the Instagram account Them. Pete Buttigieg says that trans athletes in women's sports raise quote unquote serious fairness issues. And then this guy who tweeted it said, and the party made sure to get their most prominent gay to say it so that all of the others can start saying it without being called transphobic, which I think is probably very accurate. So in my analysis, I think the way that this happened, number one, they're seeing all of these numbers change. They are seeing the fact that the majority of Americans do not want men playing in women's sports, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. I think it's like 75% or more, like everybody's saying, like, this is not common sense. This is ridiculous. So they saw those numbers. They're trying to reach men. They invested $20 million and it has not worked thus far. Nothing is working. And then they saw these new numbers come out of Pew Research. They're like, okay, well, I think we need to change our tactics, but who could we pick to go out and say this? Who would be a safe, unoffensive person? Oh, right, the gay man, Pete Buttigieg. Let's roll him out to say it so that we can cover all of our bases, so that then we can also, I think that is completely accurate. Now, what is really interesting is that I went back and I watched this whole interview and I was reading, different pieces of the transcript. And even though Pete says this, he kind of like dips his toe over there and he's like, okay, this, it's not fair. He doesn't actually want to deal with it. He's like acknowledging that it's not fair, but he doesn't want any kind of federal ban. He's not in support of anything Trump is doing, even though he's allegedly saying that he sort of agrees with the concerns that the Trump administration has. He says that chess is different from weightlifting, and weightlifting is different from volleyball, and middle school is different from the Olympics. So that's exactly why I think that we shouldn't be grandstanding on this as politicians. We should be empowering communities and organizations and schools to make the right decisions. So he wants the federal government to stay out of it, specifically the Trump administration, because nothing they do can be good. He can't stand anything, he can't stand behind what they're doing. But he is acknowledging that it's not fair. He's acknowledging that there is a danger there and that parents have a right to be concerned because it's not fair, because it's not biologically correct, because it literally does not make any sense. But he's like, no, let's leave it to the states, let's leave it to the organizations to figure out. And I was reading that and I thought, like, imagine if we went back in time, or if we were just doing this now, and imagine if a politician were to say that about Title IX. To say, like, actually, women, like, I know you deserve fairness. I know that you deserve your own locker rooms. I know that you deserve to be protected. But yeah, I don't want to grandstand on that issue. I think the league, your school can figure. I'll just leave it to the school to protect you. When this is an issue that impacts everyone, that this is an issue that, in my opinion, as somebody who definitely leans more, limited government, that I don't want the government controlling every part of my life, like, I do think that this is something that is widespread enough and impacts enough people that, no, I think Title IX is a really important thing. And I also think protecting women with the things that Trump is doing, with protecting women in sports and keeping men out of women's sports, no, I think that's a big enough issue that the federal government should get involved. But Pete Buttigieg can't go that far, because that would be more than just words. And really what they want to do right now is they're actually, even though he's saying he doesn't want to grandstand, he is kind of just grandstanding. He's using this issue to bring people over to be like, actually, guys, we get it now. We're moderates. It's like when Gavin Newsom did his interview with Charlie Kirk back at the beginning of the year and was like, yeah, I can see that that's really not fair. Yeah, I can kind of get it. But you're not doing anything about it. You're just saying it, hoping that people forget all of the insane things that you have promoted and supported over the last couple of years that got us to this point. Like, I'm sorry. No, you can't have it both ways. Fair is fair. Biology is biology. Common sense is common sense. And this is why you guys are losing. It's because you don't understand. You're playing these games with people, with your voters. You're taking advantage of them. You're lying to them. You're taking their votes for granted. You're like dangling these little social causes in front of their faces. And obviously this happens on both sides of the aisle, but especially on the left. And people are fed up. They know that it's not authentic. They know that you don't actually believe what you're saying, that this is all just some political game to you, and they are not going to go for it. So all I know is that we are going to see some crazy things heading into the midterms. If just based on what we've talked about today, I think that things are going to heat up. I think we're going to see a lot of people shifting more moderate. So just remember that I don't really think they're being authentic. And we should know that the Democrats are losing sleep over this, but I am not, because I'm sleeping pretty on my Helix mattress. Now, as you guys know, there's nothing I love more than being in bed. And the key to my enjoyment is my Helix Dusk Luxe mattress. It is so good. Alex and I got one last year, and we ended up loving it so much that we got them for the rest of the house, because everyone deserves the perfect night's sleep when they come to visit us. And what I love about Helix, besides how comfy the mattress is how easy it is to find your perfect fit. Their sleep quiz matches you to the ideal mattress based on your preferences. So whether you sleep on your side, your back, or your stomach, whether you like it firm or a softer mattress, Helix has something for everyone. Now, I took their sleep quiz when I was in Budapest. I did not even go touch a mattress. I did not try one. I just filled it out online, and we ended up getting matched to the Dusk Luxe mattress for its perfect balance of support and comfort. And guys, we have never slept better. It is literally the greatest mattress I have ever tried in the entire world. And even better, Helix delivers it right to your door. You just unbox it, you let it expand. Plus, there is a 100-night sleep trial, so you can make sure it is the right fit. So if you guys are ready to upgrade your sleep, head on over to helixsleep.com/Brett for 27% off site-wide. That is exclusive for listeners and viewers of The Brett Cooper Show. Again, that is helixsleep.com/Brett for 27% off site-wide. Make sure that you enter our show name after checkout so that they know that we sent you all over. And guys, on top of that, you should know that a good night's sleep also includes Beam's Dream Powder. And you guys know that I take my sleep very seriously, which is why I love Beam's Dream Powder. Beam is a company that is proudly founded in America by people who believe in hard work, integrity, and delivering results. Beam is their best-selling, Dream is Beam's best-selling sleep blend, packed with science-backed ingredients like reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. No pills, no grogginess, just a tasty nighttime powder that helps you fall asleep fast, stay asleep, and wake up ready to lead. Beam is giving my listeners a discount of up to 40% off. Just go to shopbeam.com/Brett and use code Brett at checkout. Again, that is shopbeam, BEAM.com/Brett. Sleep better, wake up stronger, and show up ready for your family, your work, and your country and your community. Whoo, guys, I talked about this last week, but doing those ad reads, that is where I run out of breath. I have to take a second. This baby's kicking me. Anyway, I will say though, that Beam powder, it has helped so much because I have been having restless nights and it literally tastes like a hot chocolate. So if you are like me, if you're pregnant and you want to relax and sleep through the night, you got to try it out. Anyway, so now we need to move on. I feel like we've done a couple of different updates today. We did the update on Sydney Sweeney. I have another update on Scotty Scheffler. And guys, this is hysterical. This is chef's kiss, so perfect. So we talked about 2 days ago about Skip Bayless, the sports commentator, basically ragging on Scotty Scheffler, who at the British Open was talking about how, yes, he loves golf, he loves playing golf, but at the end of the day, what really brings him joy and fulfillment is his family. And that at the end of the day, that is what he prioritizes. He's so grateful for the opportunity to play. He's so grateful that he's at the top of his game. I think he only has to win, is it the US Open, I believe, in golf? And then he has the Grand Slam. He is literally the #1 golfer in the world. And he was sitting up at this press conference and he was like, this is amazing, but I give all glory to God and I love my family. And at the end of the day, that's my priority. And I'm so grateful for them. Literally all he said, that was it. And Skip Bayless did his whole thing about how actually Scotty, has this gift and he needs to be prioritizing the sport of golf instead of his family. And Tom freaking Brady came out of the woodworks to talk about this. Now, I don't know if he saw the Skip Bayless clip because Skip directly referenced Tom in that. I don't know, maybe he was just triggered, but this man, he crawled out of the woodwork and he directly called out Scotty Scheffler in his most recent newsletter. This was not an offhanded comment. When I first read this, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting timing that he's talking about this. And then I read the entire thing and he literally calls out Scotty by name. So let's read this. This is what he had to say in his newsletter. So he said, Scotty said that he'd rather be a better father and husband than a good golfer. And my question is, why are those mutually exclusive? Sure, they're different blocks on the pyramid, but they're part of the same pyramid. They're all connected. For instance, I think part of being a great father is being a great example of doing what it takes to take care of your family. I chose to do it by playing football. He continues on and he says, my dedication to the sport, the hours of practice, the moments that I was laser focused, those were the times when I believe I was doing the best possible thing for my family and my kids by prioritizing my profession and teaching by example, what it takes to be really good at your job, what it takes to follow through on commitments, and what it takes to be a great teammate, and showing them also by example that work is a big part of all of our lives. All right, so first of all, Scotty Scheffler never said that the two were mutually exclusive. Like, never did. He never said, like, I'm going to give it up. I have to, like, I can't be a good golfer if I'm going to be a good father. No, he just acknowledged it at the end of the day, even though he's so grateful and he loves playing golf. At the end of the day, what matters most is his family, and he's so grateful that he's able to do both. But that is what drives him. That is what, gets him up in the morning. He loves his family. If he had to choose, he would choose his wife and his young son. So, like, why is now Tom Brady saying that it has to be mutually exclusive? Like, that just feels like Tom Brady was triggered and now he's projecting and he has to, like, clear his name or something and be like, actually, as the GOAT, actually, I'm going to give you my opinion on it. It's like, Tom, he was never saying any of that. He was never attacking you or anybody like you. He was just acknowledging that these are where his priorities lie. Like, at the end of the day, he knows what matters most to him, what drives him, what is most fulfilling to him. And if he had to choose, well, he would know where his priorities lie. But he hasn't had to choose. He never said that it was mutually exclusive. And also, Tom Brady, you are right in that being a good parent, I believe, does mean that you show your kids the value of hard work. I think especially as a father, it shows that you are willing to get up in the morning and that you provide for your family and that you're providing for your wife and you're supporting them, that you show them how to be dedicated to something. I think all of that, everything that he said about, being a great teammate, following through, there we go, that's English, on commitments, all of those things, I think it's important to show that work is just natural. Everything that he said was accurate, but it's just so ridiculous hearing that from Tom Brady. Also, from Tom Brady, whose dedication to his career, allegedly, most likely based on things that both of them have said publicly, cost him his marriage. And, like, Tom Brady is not the average American. Like, if this was a father who was, maybe some blue-collar worker or maybe not, but was just an average American trying to make ends meet in a crazy economy, was working 2 jobs, was showing his kids that, like, I am going to work, tooth and nail to protect you, to provide for your family. I'm going to work so hard and work these 2 jobs so that your mom can stay home and be with you. And the kids are going to grow up in that household and see that and acknowledge that and be so grateful for their father and the sacrifice that he made. That is a different story. But Tom Brady, after playing 22 seasons in the NFL, he had made, just off of his NFL salary alone, not including endorsements, anything like that, he had made $293 million. He retired, and then he went, no, oh no, I've only been retired for 60 days. I have to go back, even though my wife doesn't want me to, and I said that I was only going to play 10 more years, and my kids want me at home, and they're teenagers, and I probably should be at home. No, I'm going to go back because I'm not done. Like, Tom, I'm sorry. That was not about providing for your family. That was not showing that you're following through on commitments. That actually shows that you're breaking a commitment that you made to your wife, Giselle, because she publicly said, we had an agreement that he was only going to play, these 10 seasons, and then he was going to come home and be an active father to participate. We were going to go travel and do all of these things. You're actually breaking a commitment to her. So that was not about providing for your family. That was about glory, which, if those are your values, that's fine. I'm not here to tell you what you need to do with your life, but be honest with yourself. And I don't think he was being honest in this newsletter because, again, $293 million you have provided for your family. You have provided well beyond what they need to survive. You have showed them what it means to be the GOAT. You have showed them what it means to be a great teammate. You have showed up for these people. Now is the time to show up for them, and you didn't. And again, that was your choice. Those are your values, and you have a different life than Scotty Scheffler, but do not condemn him for doing something that's different, for being able to be at the top of his game and also be a great father and a dedicated husband and say, my priorities at the end of the day lie with my wife. Like, Tom, that's not about you. I'm sorry that you felt called out. I think that literally is the only reason that he wrote that newsletter. But, like, seriously, just, like, you are not the person to be weighing in on this. Like, you and your ex have both admitted that this was a cause of your divorce, which led to her sleeping with her jiu-jitsu instructor and getting pregnant with him and running off to, like, Costa Rica with him, Well, you're dating Sofia Vergara, I think, is who he's linked to. He was also randomly linked to Sydney Sweeney because they were like chatting at Jeff Bezos' wedding. Like, dude, you are not that's like, you are the GOAT. You are a great player. You did amazing things. But when it comes to family and commitment and being a husband and a father, I feel like maybe that's not what you should write about in your newsletter. I feel like maybe you should just stick to football. Now, I'm gonna see if you guys have any comments about that. Somebody said he went back and went 8-9 in 2022. What was that? Was that his 8th and 9th year? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're saying there. But yes, he went back in 2022. That's when he retired in like February and then went, Uno reverse, I'm going back. But I think it was in a British Vogue, interview around that time, Giselle, which was now his ex-wife, had said that they had some agreement about the years that he was going to play, that he had like 10 years ago, they had said, all right, you should do, 10 more years. And then after that, we're going to go and we're going to be able to travel and do all the things without having to worry about training camp and you traveling around for games and all of that stuff. And then when he went back and, unretired himself 30 days later, I think she gave another comment offhandedly to an interviewer a few months later and was like, yeah, that wasn't really part of the plan, but you know what? He's going to do what he's going to do. Now, I will say though, they have handled, I'm not being very graceful right here, but I'm not part of this marriage, so I don't have to be. I think that they have handled it very gracefully, all things aside. Like Giselle last year, I believe, gave an interview and people were trying to get her to say something negative about him. And she was just like, listen, that is the father of my children. There is nothing that he loves more than football. Like she openly was like, that is his priority. Should have known that. He is an amazing player. He loves the game. There's nothing that he loves more. I never want him not to be successful. Like, I wish for the best. He is the father of my children. I will always love him. That is his priority. Like, good for him. He has always said good things about her. So I think that is, as healthy as it can be, especially in the public eye for their kids. But again, I don't have to be graceful because I'm not part of the marriage. So you guys will get to know, my real feelings about it. Oh, Spence Sports Network said 8 wins, 9 losses, worst season of his career. Oh, I get it. Yeah, he went back, worst season. Well, yeah, didn't he not come back after that? Like he played that one season, maybe he did 2 more. It was like he should have gone out on the high note. Like everybody was so excited about him retiring. Anyway, we could talk about Tom much longer, but I need to finally get to the story that I told you guys I was going to talk about yesterday, 2 days ago, whenever that was on Tuesday. All the days are muddling together. And then I ran out of time because I yapped for so long about Scottie Scheffler. So at the risk of doing that again, let's move on here. But we've had all of these stories today with all of this like faux outrage, faux triggering from Tom Brady, the outrage about Sydney Sweeney and the Dunkin' Donuts thing, outrage about Joey Swoll. None of that stuff actually deserves outrage. There is one story today that does deserve outrage, and that is the gay couple that crowdfunded their surrogacy, and then it came out that one of the fathers is a convicted pedophile. I'm sure you guys saw this online. So the way that this all transpired is that last weekend, a video went viral of this couple, and they were celebrating their son's birthday every month. And so they had like a little cupcake, and it was them like kissing his cheek every month. And it was like month 1, month 2, whatever. And it was this gay couple, and they were like saying, we're so grateful for surrogacy, all of this stuff. It went viral. A lot of people on the right were saying like, we don't believe that you should be able to buy babies. What is going on here? This is so wrong. This is not natural. All of these things. It created a whole firestorm on social media. And it was so perfectly ironic because people were then quote tweeting things that people on the right and conservatives and Christians were posting about this video and the story. And they were saying, you are so homophobic. You are such a bigot. These are amazing men. These are great fathers. You are just assuming that these are bad guys. You're just assuming that they wanted to buy a baby boy for weird, nefarious reasons. You are just so awful. Terrible, terrible, terrible. You are bigots. You're homophobic. Well, all of the things. Well then, 2 days later, I think maybe less than 2 days later, it comes out that one of the fathers literally is a pedophile, literally, a convicted and registered sex offender. So let's just read this. One of the fathers, Brandon Keith Mitchell, is a Tier 1 sex offender in the state of Pennsylvania. He was arrested in 2016 after attempting to solicit a 16-year-old boy for sexual abuse. The victim in the case was a student at Dowington West High School, where Mitchell had worked as a chemistry teacher. He was 30 years old at the time. According to records released by Chester County District Attorney's Office and Downington Police Department, Mitchell solicited the boy to send him nude photographs. He also told the victim he wanted to watch him masturbate and sent the victim approximately 20 nude photos of himself. This is a man that was able to buy a baby via surrogacy. This is the man that is in that video kissing his little baby boy. Ooh, 1 month, 2 month, all of those things. And it is just so perfectly ironic because everybody was so angry, pointing the finger at everybody who was calling this out and saying, this is weird, this is not natural, going, you guys are assuming things. Well, sorry, the assumption was kind of right in this case. Now, police also discovered hundreds of other sexually explicit videos of the child on Mitchell's laptop. And at the time, when did this happen? 2016. At the time, he was sentenced to 23 months in jail, but he got out on parole after 2, which is just like the state of our justice system. It really is. It's like, yeah, you're a registered sex offender. You were sending nude photographs and trying to solicit sex from a 16-year-old boy who was your student, but yeah, slap on the wrist, 2 months in jail. Even 23 months just seems like not enough. Now, Mitchell, was that his first name? No, Brandon is his first name. Mitchell is his last name. He went on to marry a man. He's gay. And that man is a 2nd grade teacher. Which I just have to say, that is weird in and of itself that he went on to marry a teacher. Not weird at all. Now, a lot of people were posting this video and they were saying, how was this couple able to adopt this baby? Like, this is ridiculous. There are so many parents who have to jump through all of these hoops in order to get approved for adoption, even to get approved to be a foster parent. Like, people, there are, I believe, if I am remembering the numbers correctly, I believe that there are more parents waiting to adopt babies in America than there are adoptable babies in America. Like, parents want to adopt, and the system is so corrupt. It is so bloated and convoluted. And so people were saying, how was this able to happen? Well, the thing was, this baby was not adopted because thankfully the system, even though it is ridiculous and bloated, you are not allowed to adopt a child if you are a registered sex offender. So the loophole here was surrogacy. They were able to buy a baby in a different way. This is the loophole. There are no regulations when it comes to IVF or surrogacy. You cannot, you can't stop them from getting a baby. Now, I want to be clear about this because in the real world, like the government, you can't stop creeps or sex offenders from impregnating women and having children naturally. Like, this guy could have gone around, he could have, if he wasn't gay, he could have met a woman, he could have slept with her, could have gotten her pregnant. Like, the government is not going to come into your bedroom and be like, stop, you cannot be a father, you can't have this child. Like, it doesn't work that way, nor I don't even know how that would work. I don't think people would want the government in our bedrooms like that. But surrogacy makes that very complicated, and surrogacy is something that is not regulated in the slightest. There are very few protections when it comes to the child and who is having the children, and most importantly, I wouldn't say most importantly, but very importantly, when it comes to the mother who is carrying this child. And that is who I wonder about in this story. Like, surrogates usually have very little to any rights at all. They have very few protections in this whole system, and I just have to wonder, like, did this woman know that she was carrying a child for a registered sex offender? Was she informed? Is she required to be informed? Like just think about that. You spend, like, I am now on month 9. You spend 9 months giving your body to this baby, having sleepless nights, being so uncomfortable, throwing up the first 3 months, being like, you start aching in places that you never knew you could ache. You are exhausted all the time. Your brain literally shrinks. Sometimes I do the show and I'm like, oh my God, literally, what was I saying? Because this, like, child of mine is, like, taking all of my energy. You sacrifice your body. And these surrogates are doing this with no reward. I mean, they're getting paid for this, but they then at the end of this have to give this child away that they have spent 9 months growing and loving and taking care of. And you just naturally, as a woman and as a mother, want to trust that this child is going to be taken care of. And I don't know if she would have been informed that this person was a registered sex offender. I don't know if they had to actually disclose this. Like, this is not like a gay rights thing. This is not a homophobia thing, anything like that. Like, this is a no convicted pedophile should be allowed to adopt a child or use a surrogate, especially without her knowing. Like, it is such a twisted system, and the regulations are so convoluted again because it's like, again, people have the freedom to go sleep with who they want and have children with whom they want. But then when you have this, when you're buying a child, it just gets so complicated. And it's no wonder that so many people are against surrogacy or against IVF, because it leaves these children with very, very few protections. It leaves the mothers who are putting their bodies at risk, who are basically being used as incubators in this situation with very little protections. It is just not a healthy or safe situation at all. So those are my feelings on this story. I think it is completely twisted. We have not seen any new information come out about this. I don't know if anything has happened since then, but it is just ridiculous and despicable. And that was the last big story that I had today. There was one other thing that I wanted to bring up while we have the time. I actually ranted pretty fast today, so we have an extra couple of minutes. And if you guys have any questions or comments, you can super chat them in and I'll get to them. But the other thing that I wanted to point out that actually does deserve outrage this week is the story that's coming out of Cincinnati. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was a jazz festival that happened last weekend. We still have no information about how all of this actually transpired and what sparked it, but there was this huge mob of people and they were videoing, and they were black. The whole group was black. And then there was a white man, and this whole mob was beating up this man, like kicking him onto the ground, stomping on his skull, throwing him down. He would try to get up, throw him down. You could see that he was like trying to fight, but had already been beaten up a lot. Like he was like swinging his legs, trying to pull them onto the ground. But like seriously, guys, like 30 to 50 people within the frame of this one video. Nobody was calling 911. They were egging them on like, oh yeah, get him, all of this stuff. And then there's another woman who comes in, and she is also white. And I don't know if these two people know each other, but she somehow gets involved, and she's trying to stand up for this man because he's literally is like having his skull stomped on, and he's trying to stand up. So she steps in. I don't know where the other men are, but she steps in. Somebody literally sucker punches her into the face, like in the face. And then she kind of comes back up, like it wasn't a super strong punch, and she comes back and she's like trying to get in this guy's face. And then another person grabs her and throws her onto the ground, knocks her unconscious, and in the video, you start seeing blood pour out of her mouth. It is a horrific video. I don't even know if it's something that like we could have shown on YouTube. Who knows? This whole thing might get demonetized because I'm like graphically like sharing all of this blood and all of this stuff. It is a horrific video. And the commentary behind the scenes as they were live streaming this was so egregious and so awful. And people immediately posted it on X. It was making the rounds on social media, and people were calling it out, and they were saying, yeah, this is not going to get picked up by the mainstream media. Nobody's going to talk about it because it is, you know, black on white crime. It does not fit the narrative, the agenda. And it didn't. BBC didn't pick it up within those first 24 hours. AP News, CNN, nobody was writing about it, talking about it. The police gave a very weak response. They were like, yeah, if you know anybody in the video, let us know. We'll bring them in for questioning. Like it was just very, very mild. But then the most egregious thing happened. The President Pro Tem, I believe is her specific title, of the Cincinnati City Council commented publicly commented her public page on this video that was posted on Facebook. And she said, I'm grateful that she got beat up. They had it coming. That is the president of the Cincinnati City Council. And this is a super woke woman. I believe in 2020, she said that her crowning achievement in her career, in her role in government, her time in government, was making it so that racism was I think that it was like being a victim of racism was like as a disability. You like became disabled if you were like a victim of racism. She's that kind of person. There's all of these videos of her talking about DEI and wokeness. And she literally commented and said that she was grateful that that happened. Now, a representative from Ohio then spoke to the woman who was thrown onto the ground, got permission to release photos of her. She is completely beaten up. She has, you know, bruises and marks all over her body. Her eye is bright red, totally puffy. She can't even see out of it. It is atrocious. It is awful. And there has been no mainstream public response. And I'm not sure what's going to happen to this woman. What was her name? I think like Victoria Perry is, I don't want to say, I think it's Victoria Perry, Victoria Terry, something like that is the city councilwoman. Again, I'm like riffing on this because I was literally just reading it when I sat down to do the show. But it is so incredibly disgusting and disgraceful that that was the immediate gut response from an elected official, from somebody who is supposed to represent the people of Cincinnati, be on the city council, make the city a safer, better place. And these two people who were allegedly just trying to enjoy a jazz show got beaten to a pulp. Now, we don't know what happened to spark this. I don't know if something was said. I don't know if they were just like lurched upon, whatever. But even if there was a verbal altercation, there is still no world in which it is right to do this, especially when everybody is just jeering and laughing and filming and live streaming. Nobody's calling 911. Nobody's even trying to pull them apart and stop it. It is just awful. Anyways, we'll see what happens with that, if there are any ramifications to what she tweeted. It's going viral right now. She's getting called out. People are calling for her to be fired. She hasn't said anything. The mayor hasn't said anything. Everything has just, been very, very weak. But if you've seen the video, it is just awful. So those are the two things that actually deserve outrage online. Like Sydney Sweeney, that ad, it is not eugenics. It is not a racist dog whistle. The Dunkin' Donuts ad, not racist, not a dog whistle. Joey Swoll should not have bent the knee. He was not being racist for celebrating his childhood icon. Like, those are ridiculous things. Like, I'm sorry, Democrats and the left. Like, this is why you are losing culturally, because all of your outrage is misplaced and people understand. Like, my generation, we have grown up on social media. We see the hypocrisy and we're done with it. That is why we are swinging right to common sense, and goodness. All right, let me see if you guys have sent anything in. Let's see. Fruity Tootie. So, are you ticklish? Have a great day. Sort of. I think I've grown out. When I was a kid, I feel like I was more ticklish. That's a funny comment. Let's see. Tom Brady is now a commenter for NFL on Fox. Yes, he is. Again, football is like his world. That is what he is focusing on. He has made that very, very clear. So good for him. Those are his priorities and his values. But just because somebody else is going to prioritize something different and acknowledge that publicly does not mean that it is a direct attack on you, Tom Brady. I think maybe you should do some self-reflection here. Caleb from P&W Vibe said, off topic now, but Dunkin' is still sugary and not healthy. Conservatives shouldn't start drinking unhealthy things to own the libs. What do you think? Yeah, I agree with that. Like, if you're going to go to Dunkin' Donuts, get an iced coffee with cream. That's better anyway. Just I think I actually did a whole comment section episode about that, about those videos that were going viral where you see the amount of sugar that they just dump into those drinks. So yeah, you don't need to do that to own the libs. Go get an iced tea, an iced black tea, iced coffee, little cream. We have so many dairy products at our house right now because we have this milk cow. It is insane. So I'm making a lot of those drinks. This literally right now is just heavy cream from Flossie the cow. Oh, guys, I'll end with this. I didn't start with the personal story today, but I'll end with this. Alex, as I was coming to the studio, was literally driving and we passed each other. We waved in the car as I was coming out to the studio. And he was on his way back from picking up our pigs that are not alive. These were... My producer was like, oh God. These were our feeder pigs that we got last summer. We raised them. Alex literally, there was a certain point as they started to get bigger where he was like, Brett, I just can't take it anymore. I know that we're going to eat these one day and they're too cute. Thankfully for me, they got really, really annoying and obnoxious by the end and got a little bit nippy and were destroying fencing and that sort of thing. So it was just kind of, it was time. But this is our first full circle. We've raised these animals. We bought them from the time that they were 1 month old and processed them. Our most recent set of piglets, they will be our first, they were born on the farm. We have raised their parents. We have fed their parents. They have been born. We kept them alive and then we will process them. But this is the closest we've gotten to being full circle. And so yeah, Alex picked them up from the processor this morning. We now have hundreds and hundreds of pounds because we processed 3 250-pound Idaho pasture pigs. And so we have tons of pork chops. We have, whole smoked hams to last us 3 Christmases. We have so much bacon. Alex eats bacon every single morning. And we love our Good Ranchers bacon, but now we're literally overflowing with bacon. But it was really, really meaningful. And it was very gratifying to get that call to be all right, hey, they're ready to be picked up. And it definitely is. It's not the easiest thing in the world because you spend time with these animals and you love them, but also that they've lived a great life and it's incredible to look at the meat in our freezer and go, okay, I literally know that you had an amazing life. I know that I, gave you all organic, soy-free, the best, grain that you could have in the entire world. We had this custom-made pig feed for them. I know that they had so many treats. Anything that we didn't use in our fridge and our pantry went out to the pigs. Alex was literally giving them cake the other day because we had leftover cake from our baby shower. So he was taking this funfetti cake out to them to eat. So they were organic until it came to leftover cookies and cake that they wanted to eat. But those are good treats. So they lived a great life. But it was a really full circle moment. I was also, before I came on the show, calculating the cost of raising our own meat versus like buying high quality meat at the grocery store, because Alex was picking them up from the butcher and he was like, man, that was a lot of money to have them processed. And I was like, well, actually, we now have like 400 pounds worth of pork, so I should calculate this. And I think it came down to, hold on, I had Grok doing this for me because I was having them like compare this to a bunch of different things. But I think at like Whole Foods and at, this is just for like my own enjoyment. If you guys want to log off, you don't care about the tallying numbers of our farm, you can move on, but I have to share this because I'm really proud of it. So at Whole Foods or at farmers markets, like organic, really clean pork is anywhere from $7 to $18 a pound. Like organic sliced bacon with no nitrates, all that stuff is an average of $17 per pound at Whole Foods. And then at farmers markets, it's all like $9, $10, great quality. And we came in at $5.50 per pound on average. So between the cost of feeding them for the last 11 months, processing, and, you know, I think it's just priceless to know exactly what went in your food. And to have that experience of raising them and spending all that time with them, because were very, very sweet and were a lot of fun. We actually ended up really, really loving the pigs more than we expected. I think in my opinion, I love the cows, but raising the pigs was really gratifying. Anyway, so that is our farm update for now. I think Alex has probably spent this entire live stream unpacking all of that meat and trying to fit it into the copious amounts of freezers that we now have in our garage for this. Anyway, guys, those are all of your updates from culture and society and politics to the farm. I will see you guys next Monday. Hope you have a great weekend. Bye.
Don't play dumb with me, Bessie. We ran your tags. I know you're not from America. You know what that means? That means you're a job thief. Moo? Every time America imports and sells beef just like you, that's less beef for American farms to raise and sell. You and your offshore cow cartel have been undercutting our ranchers for years. And you want the cold, hard truth, Bessie? The number of cattle in America is at its lowest since 1951, 86 million. That's it. We haven't seen numbers this low since Bing Crosby was being played on vinyl. I don't even know who Bing Crosby is. That's how long ago it was. So this isn't just some personal beef I have with you. This is American food security. This is American job security. And Americans at home need to stop buying imposter beef like you. Instead, they should be buying their meat from good ranchers to keep American farms farming. And I promise you, they won't regret it. Use code BRETT for an extra $40 off your order and free meat for life. We've got a country to feed.